family. How are you? I hope everybody is having a lovely day, lovely evening, whatever time you're switching on to this. Here we go again. I would like to give a short rant about something that has been coming up quite a lot in social media. Um, and this would be what we are talking. Just a second. Okay, I had to put on a sweater on top of my top because I realized that I was not exactly dressed for the mass market. This is the problem with working from home. I sometimes forget my fashion sense. Anyway, so we were supposed. So what would I want to talk about today? Oh yeah, there we go. I was going to talk about something that has really been bothering me, and I think it's bothering me partly because I have a child who is preteen, and I am beginning to notice things which I had never noticed before. So I look online sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, and what I notice is there's this adultification of young girls. I mean, these people are made to feel as if, I don't know, they're adults, from a very young age. Their bodies are sexualized from a very young age. And what I'm noticing is this is more on the black girls than on other races. I feel like the innocence of children is something that people we tend to really look down upon it. Okay, so the first day I was watching the R. Kelly documentary, and I was watching it with a friend, and he mentioned that I bet if R. Kelly was doing this not in the black community, he would have been called out earlier. And I was like, well, I mean, sexual abuse happens to everybody. It's not a racial thing. It happens to everybody. He's like, yeah, but look at how the comments are. The comments are more, yeah, but the girls were, yeah, but the girls were, it's okay, fine, he did it, but the girl, it's all the burden is on the girl. So I was like, I mean, I brushed it off. But of course, as everything else, it stuck at the back of my mind. And so I was going through Facebook one time, and um, the story came up, and somebody said, oh, they're just doing this because they want to bring down R. Kelly because nobody's happy about him being a successful black man and stuff like that. And now this was a Kenyan page. And I was looking at the comments, and what struck me was just how many people think it was okay. Not that they think that even if he did it, it was okay. They're like, well, I mean, the girls wanted fame and he wanted, so he got it, and the girls got what they wanted. And in my heart, I was like, why would you think that is okay? For me, I'm like, why? Why would you think that is fine? And it was sad that people actually thought that. I remember seeing a comment from somebody who I actually know, and I did something which is totally inappropriate, but I don't regret doing it. I saw a comment from somebody I know who has daughters who are in their teens, and this person wrote a comment and said, well, the kids nowadays, a 12-year-old child can show you things that you as an adult doesn't even know. They are very sexually experienced. And my heart stopped because I was thinking, how does he look at his daughters? His daughters are in their teens. And and he can say this about 12-year-olds. According to him, 12-year-olds are ready. And I was like, so how does he know? Is this something he's speaking from experience? How does he know? And how safe are his daughters with somebody who's thinking like that? So I sent a message. So I did something very inappropriate, and as I can tell you clearly, the wife and I are no longer talking to each other. But I sent a message to the wife, and I did a screenshot and sent it to her. I never do that. I find it very petty, but I don't know. This day I was just having one of my rant days, and I sent it to her and I told her, really, your husband thinks this is an appropriate thing to do, to say on social media? He's okay with his daughters being looked at as objects who are ready for it? What is wrong with this man? And she sent me a message and told me, well, my life is none of your business. And anyway, my children are well brought up. They wouldn't do things like that. So, too bad for the parents who are not bringing up their children well, and are their children end up doing all this nonsense and stuff like that. And I was shocked. I really was, because she didn't seem to have any shock effect to, oh my God, my man can say this. So, I mean, this probably is something that he has said, and it sounds normal to her, you know. Anyway, so as I was saying, that gave a very, well, not a very interesting, well, anyway, both ways it did not end nicely. The other thing is, I find it shocking that women support this. I find it shocking that women support this because, number one, you're blaming these girls. You know, their response is, have you seen how teenage girls dress nowadays? Oh, they deserve it. Have you seen how these girls, they doing this? They deserve it. And I try to put myself in the teenage girl's perspective. And I remember when I was a teenager. I mean, it's been a while, but I remember when I was a teenager. And it was more trying to figure things out. I was trying to figure out what kind of a girl I am. I was trying to figure out what kind of a woman I was going to be. I was trying to figure out how much I can push the limits, you know? And for me, there was a need to have that shock effect. You get? So I really did want to I really did want to have, I think I'm getting a cold. My son have a cold, so yeah, he tends to bring bags back home. I forgot that. Yeah, schools are open now, so well, you know, we keep getting these things. Anyway, I remember that it was a time when I wanted to fit in. And I remember the pressure to fit in. And I totally remember how it felt when, you know, all of a sudden the breasts are growing. And you remember, and I grew up at the same time when Britney Spears was being, and for me, it sounded so normal, but I look at those things and I'm like, goodness, these were adults. You know, I mean, I'm still yet to understand why Barbara Walters, I mean, she's a product of her time, yes, but that woman really did do a lot of shaming in her interviews. Basically, that's how she got people to open up. She just shamed you into saying whatever she wanted you to say. Anyway, I remember having Britney being asked questions like, are you a virgin? And that was a normal question to ask at that time. And so I remember those days being growing up and thinking, you have to be sexy, but not slutty, but where is the line? And well, you have to be kind of slutty because you're being sexy so that the boys can look at you. And once they look at you, if you don't give it up, then there's a problem. And so, you know, there was just, it's already a very difficult, confusing time. But everybody tends to think, oh no, I'm raising my child in the church. My child is a Christian. That will never happen to my child. And yet it does, you know, it does, because you're busy thinking that you've done whatever it is that all these other parents have failed to do. So you can say whatever you want to say, but I think the way we say it takes a village to raise a child, it does take a village mentality also to raise a child. I look at sometimes when I look at, I really appreciate the fact that I have some friends and some people who I don't even like, but I value their opinion, who call me out when I'm overdoing it with my daughter. They're like, I think this is, you're being a bit too friend, not mother, when it comes to this. You're being a bit too open with her when it comes to this. I actually like the fact that I have people who tell me that. I also like when people look at me and tell me, no, come on, you need to give her a bit more space. You need to give her a bit more freedom. She's intelligent. Let her think, let her grow, and so I I love that. But people nowadays think that, okay, it's my child. I went through labor, so I get to make the decisions. And I'm telling you, that doesn't work always. It's something that doesn't work, honestly. It really doesn't. Um the sad part about it is that I'm going to talk about what I feel is a problem with what's happening now, but that's going to be in a different video. With what's happening now about raising children and basically spoiling them, not preparing them for the real world, because we are removing every obstacle on their way. They're what is it called? Plow parenting. You remove every obstacle. Oh no, my child can't do this because I can't do this. Oh, they can't fall. They can't eat this. They can't experiment. They can't go anywhere alone. They can't, so we are being overprotective, and sometimes it's not good. Anyway, so that's a whole other issue, but we'll talk about that during another video. This video, I just want us to think about it like this. I know there are things that we think is new, like incest and pedophilia, and especially in the African context. Many people think that pedophilia is something very new. However, I have talked to a few people, and I tell you, most people, if people were to be very honest, most people's first experience, sexual experience, was when they were very, very young. They didn't even know that was what they were doing. The second thing can be when they had, okay, so one, when they were very young, and the second is most of the time it was with a relative. The reason why it was with a relative is because that's the only place you could go. There was nowhere. You couldn't go for a sleepover to a friend's place. You couldn't go to, so people my age and slightly younger and slightly old and older remember that there used to be rules. When you talk about this sleepover things, people are like, oh, why? Whose house? Why? No, you're not going to sleep at anybody's house. But sleepovers have always, they've always been there. We just used to go to relatives, and you can find quite a few people who they didn't even know that's what they were doing. By the way, you would find the boy didn't even know what he was doing, the girl didn't even know what she was doing, but the boy had been taught by the nanny, and the girl had seen her big sister or her parents doing it, and they're like, well, we are playing, and they play, and so this is something that has always been there. The only difference is now people are kind of aware, so people are talking about it. And the second thing is, it has become so normalized that now it's no big deal. I remember yesterday I was at an event with some friends, and what I learned during that event was people are very, women are worried. Women are really, really worried about um, the way things are being normalized, and it was a relief, even though I'm sure it's a very small percentage of women, it was a relief to hear that there are people who think the way I think, that there are things we should not normalize. We should not normalize the fact that we have so many single parents and so many marriages breaking up. Instead of figuring out why it's happening, it's more of, oh no, now we are free. And we're not thinking about the generations that are coming and what we're showing them, because you've already shown them that, listen, you have one argument with your husband, you leave. I'm not saying you stay. I'm very pro, if somebody's hating you, get out. But most of the time, you hear somebody going like, yeah, he lost his job. I'm not about to stay with a broke man. So I found somebody who has a job, so I left him. And it's just things like that. And I feel like that is something we do not need to normalize. So when we are normalizing treating young girls like women, and a 15, 16-year-old girl gets pregnant with, she's in high school, she's dating a guy who is in college, or who is even working sometimes, or even somebody's husband, and she gets pregnant. And it's, what a slut. What's wrong with these girls nowadays? The man is not the problem. No. Did you see how that girl dresses? No way. There was no way a man could resist that. It's her fault. She did it. She's the one who's been dressing around like a slut and showing men things. That's why the men are like that. I'm telling you, it happens. Women do actually think like that, sadly. And I also have feel sad that it's not the way it used to be, where a boy gets a girl pregnant and the boy is told, no, you are taking responsibility, you should not have slept with her. If she's not good enough for you, you should not have thought of sleeping with her. But nowadays it's more, well, what was she thinking? What was her problem? And I think the lack of consequence, which is why I think I have already done a video about child support. I think the lack of consequence for the male is part of the reason why somebody is very okay with saying, okay, I have 7 baby mamas, because he's not paying anything, so who cares? His hand is funny. He knows I've spread my seed. What if he was made to marry those 7 baby mamas? What if he was made to marry the first one? Or even just take responsibility for the child for the first one? The difference would be so, so huge. And I'm not saying this just to justify girls getting pregnant. I do realize that it does happen. There are places where where women have done something to make sure that they get pregnant for specific reasons. What I'm saying is, first, let's go to the underlying reason why that happens. Most of the time, it's okay. Either he's a rich guy, I'm thinking this is a way out, so poverty. The other time, it's just immorality. He's married. I'm sure if I get pregnant, he's going to leave his wife and all that nonsense. Which, girls, I'm telling you, if you're watching this and that's what goes through your mind, not gonna happen. You will be left there with that baby and you will become world enemy. But of course, all these things are normalized. When you go to social media, all these things are normalized. I mean, everybody is all of a sudden, it's interesting how people take the Bible and they pick what they want. They're like, oh, all of God's favorite people are polygamous. David was polygamous. So everybody just goes, yeah, Solomon was polygamous. Everybody was polygamous. So polygamy is very much allowed. It's white people who don't want us to be polygamous. Okay. Are you providing for your wives the way David, the king, was providing for his wives? How is this polygamy starting without adultery? Because adultery is a sin. So how is this polygamy starting without adultery? how are you raising your children without doing the favoritism? And like the way I know polygamous families where, like, my father is from a polygamous family. I don't really know a lot the of his brothers, but funny enough, I don't even know who belongs to which wife. Yeah, I really don't. I just know they're my uncles and aunties. But the modern day polygamy, it's, oh, this one is the first wife's kids, this one is the slut's kids, this one is the third. We don't even know if she's a wife yet or not. So there's a lot of already break it away from tradition. So people want to take the parts of the Bible that fit in with their tradition and then throw away everything else. Now, you kind of need to decide, because if you want to go full African, then go full African. Just go full African, slaughter cows and goats and pray to whoever you want to pray. But I just think it's unfair to kind of mix and match things which will fit with justifying the things that you feel you're doing, because honestly, for someone to try and justify it, they already know what they're doing is wrong. Anyway, this video went on longer than I intended for it to go. I kind of intended for it to be under 10 minutes. I'm now on minute 21. But anyway, I just feel it's wrong for us to make young girls. I mean, when somebody's an adult and whatever she wants to do with her body, I am very pro. Do whatever you want to do with your body, that's yours. But I feel as children, let's leave children out of it. A 12-year-old who thinks that she knows what to do with life doesn't just wake up and start thinking she knows what to do with life. She doesn't just, there's somebody somewhere in society who has messed up. And that is the reason why this 12-year-old child thinks, because they don't know, thinks that, okay, now I have boobs, I got my periods, I am ready for life. I am a grown woman. That's the reason. There's a reason why they're thinking like that, because somebody somewhere failed. Somebody somewhere told them, listen, you're big enough now, you are ready. Oh, you have the breasts, you have the what, you can make money. Oh, you can get a boyfriend. There's something seriously wrong with you if you're still a virgin. Quick story before I close. Yesterday I was crossing the road and one of the girls, no, the lights were about to change. So two of the girls just ran across the road and one remained behind. And when her friends reached the other side, they were like, you could have run. And then she's like, no, I'm being a good citizen. Then they started laughing. They were like, really? And she's like, I'm not about to die a virgin, so leave me in peace. And I was like, I just turned and looked at her, and I think she then realized what she had said. She had actually said it out loud. She turned all red. It was so funny. I was like, I hope you stay a virgin until you're married. And I think she looked at me like, oh, okay. I'm not gonna wait that long, but okay. It looked weird, but I don't know. I just felt in my heart that let me just tell her some encouragement, because I mean, nobody told me to stay a virgin until I was married. Maybe if I tell that one person, it might make a difference. Anyway, so let's not normalize pedophilia. Let's not normalize making young girls think they're women, and let's just encourage young girls to be young girls. Do you know you're actually a child? Well, and I mean, if you live your full life the way it's supposed to be, let's say until you're 60 or until you're 70, you're actually a child for the shortest time in your life cycle, in your lifespan, because you're only a child for what, 18, 20, okay, let's say 18 years. You're only a child for 18 years. And then you have the rest of your life to be an adult. I'm telling you, that sex, you will get tired of it. Well, maybe, I don't know yet. But yeah, you will get tired. You will be able to do all these things. And I know I sound cliche, because even me, I used to be told, oh, you will get tired of clubs, you will get tired of all that. Yeah, I actually willingly go to bed at 9 now. I did go to all those clubs. I really, really went. got tired of it. Anyway, so I'm just hoping that this reaches everybody. Let's not judge these girls. Let's you find a girl that you're going to hold her hand and just walk her through everything. Bye.